Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda Dittlinger and I'm a neurodivergent woman. I have autism and ADHD, and I also have two more rare conditions called Aphantasia and SDAM, which is a memory disorder. So in this video, I want to talk a little bit about aphantasia. So aphantasia is the inability to visualize or voluntarily visualize in your mind's eye. So whenever I close my eyes and try to think of any kind of imagery, it's completely dark or blank or black, or there's no kind of visual stimulation inside my brain at all. And I am a 5-sense Aphant. That means that I don't experience any of the senses inside of my mind. And I go into that in some more detail in other videos. But one place that you call it either being an Aphant or having Aphantasia, or actually, I should correct myself. I've been saying it wrong for a while, and I'm trying to learn to say it correctly. It's Aphantasia. When I first found out about this at age 38, it had been in a Facebook forum, and I was only reading the word, and I hadn't heard it pronounced anywhere out loud for a long time. But it's aphantasia, like atypical. It's not the typical way of people visualizing. We're actually a very small percentage of the population. I think the latest studies are around 3%, but the more people who are talking about aphantasia, the more people realize they have it. Because collectively, everyone who finds out that they have it all thought that all visualizers out in the world were talking in metaphor. Very few of us realized that when people said things about visualizing, that they actually could see images in their mind's eye. Well, like I said, one of the ways that this kind of is very different for somebody with aphantasia than a visualizer is when I'm talking on the phone. When I am talking on the phone with somebody, I'm not visualizing that person. They are just like a disembodied voice to my brain. Now, if it's somebody I know really well, like let's say I'm talking to my sister, and I know that while I'm talking to her, she is in her backyard, I might, for a split second, kind of think about my sister in her yard as she's talking to me, but I'm not visualizing it, and I'm not visualizing what my sister even looks like. Same thing, like if I'm talking to a customer service representative on the phone, it's literally just a voice. I'm not picturing, I can usually, when you're talking to somebody, you can often tell whether or not the voice is male or female, but I'm not kind of putting any kind of imagery in my mind to that person and what they might or might not look like. And I've talked to other visualizers, and depending on your level of visualization, because just like anything with the brain, it's a spectrum, and you have people who can visualize extreme vivid, and then other people just visualize like static photos or pictures, but it's not as detailed. So I've heard that those kind of people, if they're talking to a loved one, then they're often like visualizing, thinking about what that person looks like. They're seeing that person as they're talking to them on the phone. And even more incredible to me, they're visualizing their facial expression. So if the person says something funny, then their image of that person in their mind starts smiling. Like, that's just so crazy to me, because I obviously can't do that. And if they're talking to a customer service representative, they may not have any clue what that person looks like, most likely. And, if it's just some call that they're making, it's not like, if they're talking to, maybe somebody that they've met before, like at their doctor's office or something, they could visualize that person. But if they're just calling a random number and getting somebody on the phone, then sometimes what I've heard visualizers do is they will put an image in their mind to what they think matches that voice. And it could be completely 100% wrong. And I don't know if all visualizers do this or not. So if you are somebody watching this video and you are a visualizer, like you can see things in your mind's eye, when you call some random person on the phone, do you make up an image of what they look like? Because I've heard it from both ways. So I just really, one place that this can cause some trouble is because I'm not visualizing that person and they're just a voice in my head. And I think a little bit of the autism ADHD, because a lot of times when you're a neurodivergent person, it's sometimes hard to tease out which neurodivergency is which thing. So, you know, grant me some space with that. But I will often forget to ask the person, hey, are you busy? Like, to me, they're just a voice. They're not doing anything. They're talking to me. So obviously they're not doing anything in the world. Like, I'm not picturing them, you know, like I said earlier with my sister in her backyard. The only time that comes up is because sometimes she actually says that she's in her backyard. But, you know, I don't picture whether or not the person is in their car or, you know, trying to cook dinner, or are they on a walk, or, you know, like they're just a voice in my head. And so that sometimes I've had people be like, oh, sorry, Amanda, I really can't talk. I was just answering your phone to see if everything was okay. I was like, oh yeah, sorry, I forgot to ask if you could actually talk. Oh yeah. Sometimes you can hear environmental sounds on the phone, but nowadays a lot of the phones are getting pretty good where you don't necessarily hear those sounds. So it's just a voice to me. No person. Doesn't matter if they're like super, super close like my husband, or, you know, like a random person on the other end. When I'm calling, unless I specifically, intentionally try, and then I'm still not visualizing the person, but I can think about what they look like. So I can't see my husband's face in my mind's eye. Never can, never have, never will be able to. But I can describe him because he's my husband and I know what he looks like. So that's why, like, I don't use that mental effort to think about what my husband looks like when I'm talking on the phone with him. It's just not something that my brain's gonna do, unless there's for some reason that it's important to the conversation that I know what he looks like. I can't even think of what that might be. Anyway, I hope you found this video interesting. I hope you will subscribe and hit that like button, because that helps me with the algorithm and tells YouTube to push this out to more people so they can hear about aphantasia. I really appreciate it. And I will see you guys on the next video. Bye.